Hi everyone and welcome to the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy, and my name is Mehmet. And today's lesson is going to be connecting the planets with the signs and showing like what combinations they have and which particular planets associate with which particular signs. Obviously, I've done that in the past 4 videos where I've done about we've read about the sign and we've read about the ruling planet, but what I want to do now is kind of simplify that and also add a bit more to it, because one sign is not just kind of correlated to mainly one planet. Although, like in simple terms, you could say, for example, Mars connects with Aries and Scorpio, which is true, but also Mars connects with Capricorn, because we're going to talk about something called exaltations and introduce that into today's lesson as well. So what I want to do before I get into that, I just want to kind of go over like the last kind of 6 videos I've done into the introduction of astrology. So what we did, the first video was kind of understanding the basics of how energy works, looking at redshift, blue shift, and how that kind of correlates with the zodiac and how the seasons work. The second video we did was about the elements and the modes and the modalities of each sign. So we spoke about fire, earth, air, and water, and then we spoke about cardinal, fixed, and mutable as well. And then the 4 lessons after that, we went through each season, and there's 3 signs in each season. So the first one we did was spring of Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Then we did summer of Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. Then we did autumn of Libra, Scorpio, and Sag. And then my last astrology lesson before this one, we did about the winter season, which was Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So before I get into this board, which is what I've done with this board, is each sign and each planet kind of can be defined by one word or one phrase. So I want to kind of introduce that, because I think that's a really good way of getting to learn things quicker. Because like if I like started talking about, for example, I don't know, Mars. Obviously, I've put the word action because Mars is about how you take action, but it's not just about that. There's other stuff as well. But to get a better understanding or a quick way to learn it is you can attach these one-liners or these main words that correspond with each sign and each planet. And also what I want to show you today is like kind of when you mix the two together, how that creates a unique energy as well. But like I said, before I get into that, what I want to do is I'm going to bring up my board, and we're going to go through how the sine wave works, and yeah, cardinal, fixed, mutable, earth, air, fire, and water. So the way the sine wave works is it starts here and it goes like this. You can either go like this as a wave, or you can go like this in a circle. If you watched my video on introducing the sine wave, I explain this. It doesn't matter which way you can go, like I said, in a wave, or you can go in a circle. Personally, I think explaining it in a circle is a lot easier because it just comes back round. So the first sign of the zodiac is Aries and is a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs are the first signs of each season. So that would be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And then the middle signs, which are the fixed signs in each season, is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And then you've got the mutable signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Just a quick recap. So the cardinal signs would be almost, you could say, the starters of projects or the leaders. The fixed signs are the ones in between. So they're not really finishers off or starters off. They're kind of the best of both worlds. And the mutable signs are ones that are finishing off a project or a particular task. So you can look at it as cardinal as beginning, fixed as middle, and mutable as end. So that's a simple way you can look at it. So yeah, so like I said, each season has 3 signs. So this is spring season up here. So you've got Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. That makes the spring season. And then you've got Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, which makes summer. And you've got Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, which is autumn. And then you've got Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, which is winter. And also, like I've mentioned in my other shows, all the seasons have a particular humor or a vibe. So spring is hot and moist. Summer is hot and dry. Autumn is cold and dry. And winter is cold and wet. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to move over to my other board. And also, yeah, like just to let you know, the color coding in relation to the signs, obviously red is fire, green is earth, black is air, and blue is water. So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to go to bring my other board forward and go into like how we can memorize the signs by one-liners or key words. And also what I mentioned in my other signs was how the 12 signs also go through the body. So this body that I've done in a straight line here, the head would be here and it would wrap all the way around here with the feet here. But we're going to get into that in other lessons. We're going to get into that into more detail. So what I'm going to do now, this was just a quick recap of what we've been doing. And I'm going to now go into my other board and we're going to look at each sign and its main theme and which planets connect to it. So I'll put this down here. So what I could, yeah, let me just bring this back and then I won't even have to move it. I could just turn around and show you. So as we know, the first sign is Aries. And the motto of Aries is I am. Because Aries rules the head. So, and it's your head which defines who you are, your face. So that's why Aries' motto is I am. And also the signs of Leo and Aries, the 2 fire signs, are known to be the most egotistical signs and signs that make themselves aware. So that's another reason of I am. And also it's the first sign. So it's hello, here I am. It's just kind of the first spark of the cycle, which is why it is ruled by Mars and the sun exalts in Aries as well. Exaltation is where a planet starts its journey, and where it rules is where the planet is strongest. So the 2 planets which relate to Aries would be Mars and the sun. The sun being because that's when spring, when the sun comes to the equator, that's when spring happens. So, and when the sun is at the equator, it distributes a balanced amount of light, where it's 12 hours day and 12 hours night. So the sun and Mars correlate to the sign of Aries, and the motto of Aries is I am, and also it's a fire sign, hence why I've written it in red. Second sign we have is Taurus, and is an earth sign. And the motto of Taurus is I have, because like I said, Taurus relates to the element of earth, and the element of earth is about material things and what you have and what you value. And the two signs, the two planets in relation to Taurus are Venus and Moon, because Venus is about pleasures and love, and the Moon is about the emotions. So I have a Taurus Moon. So my Moon or my emotions are very Taurian. So they could be very grounded and stubborn and fixed, because obviously Taurus is a fixed sign. Whereas if you had your Moon in Aries, you'd be very fiery, because Aries correlates to the planets of Mars and the Sun. So moving on, the third sign is Gemini. Also, another thing I forgot to show you is each sign has a symbol. So the symbol of Aries, as you can see, is like some ram's horns, and also the M, the M shape is also correlated to Mars as well, and also it's like the opening of the Taurus field, which would be this part here. But obviously there'd be another one going, oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. So it would be this part here opening, and then be another line going that way as well. So all the symbols of the signs are related to the actions, or obviously the animal it correlates with. So moving on to Gemini, Gemini is the sign of the twins, hence why this is the symbol. As you, I'll move my hand out, I'll try and go like this, yeah. So this is the symbol of Gemini with the Roman numerals of 2. And the main motto of Gemini is I think. Obviously there's more to that, but Gemini is an air sign. So the air element is to do with intellect and mind and communication. So that's why the motto of Gemini is I think. Also, Geminians are very good speakers, very good communicators. They're good students as well. So that's why you have the planet of Mercury is the main ruler of Gemini, and Mercury is to do with communication. And also we have the North Node, which is to do with your present life. You have a North Node and a South Node. The North Node and South Node are always opposite each other, no matter where they are in the zodiac. So for example, if the North Node is in Aries, the South Node will be in Libra. If the North Node is in Cancer, the South Node will be in Capricorn. So I'll show you it on here. So yeah, so the North Node would be here, and then the South Node would be there. They're always opposite each other, whichever sign they fall in. The South and North Node are always opposite each other, no matter what. So moving on to the next sign is Cancer, and the motto of Cancer is I feel, and that is because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the planet of Jupiter is exalted in that sign. So obviously moon is to do with your emotions, and where is it? Jupiter is to do with abundance, or what comes easy to you. It's also to do with morality and goodwill as well. So people who are Cancerians are very emotional and loving, and they have a very motherly energy. They also known to be quite sad, because this is why they have the symbol of the crab and the crab falling down, because obviously I'll show you again, I'm going to be using 2 balls today, because once the sun comes up to the Tropic of Cancer, it can only start waning. So this sadness is almost like the sadness of colder days coming, because I know this part is the summer and it's the hottest part, but from once the sun reaches the Tropic of Cancer, it only has one way, and that's to go down. So the sadness and the emotions of Cancerian people is similar. Oh, sorry about that, is symbolized through that, if that makes sense. So moving on to the next sign, and its motto is Leo. And Leo is about, the motto of Leo is I create, and its ruling planet is the sun. And obviously we know the sun is the main orb in the heavens. Without the sun, there'll be no life, there'll be no plants, there'll be no light for us to see. And yeah, the sun symbolizes the self and who you are. And like I said, the motto is I create. Leos and people with a lot of Leo placements in their chart, they're very creative people. They like attention. They're not afraid to get out there and show themselves. So it's a very creative force. And obviously it's a masculine force, which correlates with I create as well. And obviously it's in red, which is a fire sign. Yeah, forgot to mention Cancer in blue is a water sign, obviously. So moving to the next sign is Virgo. And the main motto of Virgo is I analyze. Virgos are known to be very picky and analytical and suffer from OCD. And yeah, a lot of people, how can I say, there's a lot of funny memes about Virgo and their funny ways, but Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And again, that makes sense because, like I said, Mercury, the planet Mercury, is to do with communication and intellect and the mind. So for you to be very picky and analytical and to have that OCD quality, you would have to have a very mental energy, if that makes sense. So yeah, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but the element of it is Earth, so they're very grounded. Obviously, what I forgot to mention, and I've mentioned in other videos, is that each season and each sign is a particular part of the day. So spring correlates to the morning, summer correlates to the afternoon, autumn correlates with the evening, and winter correlates with the night. Well, Virgo is the last sign of the summer. So the time it represents is 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So in this time, even in the real world, this is the time where we have to be very analytical. This is the time where at work, people do all their paperwork and start organizing things and getting them ready for the next day. So that last part of the work hour, them last couple of hours, 4 to 6, is a very Virgoan energy. So moving on to the next sign, Libra, is I balance, and Libra is mainly about relationships and justice. And the two planets, should I say, that rule Libra are Venus and Saturn. Obviously, Venus, because Venus is, I said it's about, I've put Venus down as pleasure, but it's also about love as well. So that's why it corresponds with Libra, because Libra is about partnerships and relationships. But as well as Venus, this is where Saturn starts its journey, because Libra is at Libra is in, as you can see here, it's right in the middle of the zodiac. So this is when darkness happens. This is when the sun starts setting. So this is why Saturn starts its journey here, because it's to do with darkness. And this is where the sun sets. Set and Saturn are same etymologically. So Libra has the energy of Venus because it's to do with relationships and partnerships. But it also has a Saturnian energy because this is to do with when the darkness starts and the nighttime and the autumn. Moving on to the next sign, Scorpio, which is one liner, should we say, is I desire. Scorpio in the body rules the genital area. So it's to do with sexuality and um, reproduction and creating new life. And the two planets which correspond with Scorpio are Mars and Pluto. Mars because of the action and the warlike and the passion, and Pluto because of transformation and rebirth. It's a very, very dark, intense energy. And also, yeah, another animal which correlates with Scorpio, which relates to the Plutonian side of it, would be the snake, because the snake always sheds its skin. So this shedding its skin is a symbol of death and rebirth and transformation. And this is the main, transformation is the main word for Pluto. So then moving on to the last sign of the autumn season, we have Sagittarius. And the motto of Sagittarius is I see. And the reason why it's I see, obviously, we know the archer is the symbol of Sagittarius. And we know that Sagittarius is to do with higher vision, philosophy, wisdom, religion, dreams. So this is why it gets the title of I see. And the two planets ruling, or not ruling, the ruling planet is Sagittarius, but also the South Node, which is about the past life, rules in Sagittarius as well, because like I said, it's about visions and spirituality and mysticism, should I say. And obviously Jupiter is to do with wisdom and abundance and being moral and being a righteous person, if that makes sense. Moving on, the first sign of the winter season and the earth sign is Capricorn. And the motto for Capricorn is I build. And the reason for that is because, as you can see here at the bottom, Capricorn starts here at the Tropic of Capricorn. And when the sun gets here, like at the Tropic of Cancer, the sun can only go down. Well, once the sun is at this point, the sun can only start going back up. So then that's why the motto of Capricorn is I build. And they are ruled by the planets of, well, it's ruled by Saturn, which is about building and making boundaries and structures. But it's also where Mars exalts. Where am I there? Where Mars exalts, because obviously, like I said, Mars is about action. So from this point onwards, the sun has to take action to move up. That's why Mars also connects with Capricorn. So you can see why particular signs connect with particular planets, connect with particular signs. Obviously, Mars here is no good because Mars rules here. Mars likes being on the move, but once it comes here, it's like on the decline. So it's no good here. But once it gets back, once it gets to Capricorn and starts going upwards, it's where it wants to be because Mars is about action. Moving on, the next sign is Aquarius, and the motto of Aquarius is I know, and it's ruled by the planets of Saturn and Uranus. Again, Saturn, like I've mentioned, is about discipline and structure and boundaries, but Uranus is about rebellion and revolution. And the motto of Aquarius is I know, because it's an air sign and it's a very mental sign. So these people are people with a lot of Aquarian energy, have a lot of new ideas, and they think outside the box because the 7 classical planets of Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are more correlated to the physical world, whereas Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are more about the spiritual and transcendental world. So this is why the planet of Uranus is about rebellion, because it correlates with the fixed stars of the zodiac. It's outside of the physical realm. So it's people with a lot of good Uranian energy or a lot of Aquarian energy. They think outside the box. They don't have the traditional viewpoint or the traditional way of doing things of how a Capricorn would, for example, or of how a Capricorn, because Capricorn's very earthly, very material, very rigid. But although Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn, it's a different kind of Saturn. The way I usually say it, I see Saturn in Capricorn as a bit like, I would correspond that more to like Satan and the devil, whereas Saturn in Aquarius, I would correlate that with more with the archetype of Kronos and wisdom and being that disciplined old soul that knows what's best. This is why the symbol of Aquarius is the water bearer, because the picture of the water is of the Son of Man enlightening people with the spiritual waters from above, basically. And finally, the last sign is Pisces, which is a water sign. And the motto of Pisces is I believe. And Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune, and that's also where Venus exalts. And obviously, we've been in the age of Pisces for the last 2000 years. And obviously, this has been the main age of like religions and of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. So the motto is about belief, and obviously with Jupiter being there, it's about wisdom and about morality and about giving to people. But the Neptunian side of Pisces is more to do with intuition and divinity and the crystalline sea, connecting to that higher source. So that was just a quick breakdown of each sign and which planets are connected to it. But what I want to now show you, like briefly, obviously we're going to get into a lesson of birth charts and looking at the houses. Well, the houses kind of relate to the signs, but I'll get into that in a different video. But what I want to now show you is like combining the two energies of the planet with the sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my chart as an example, and I can use some other examples as well, but I'll use my chart as an example. What I'll do first, I'll go through the planets and give you the main word that relates to them. So the moon is to do with your emotions, Mercury is to do with your communication, Venus is to do with your pleasure. Also, you could add love there. The sun is to do with yourself and like your soul purpose. Mars is to do with action. Jupiter is to do with abundance and morality and also wisdom. Saturn is to do with discipline and the lessons you learn in your life. Uranus is to do with, like I said, rebelliousness and thinking outside the box. Neptune is to do with intuition and spirituality. Pluto is to do with transformation. Rahu is to do with your present life. And Ketu is to do with your past life. So what I'll quickly do is I'll kind of go through my chart quickly on where each of these planets lie in which signs in my chart. So first of all, my moon is in the sign of Taurus. So that's a good start for me, because as you can see, I've got the moon symbol next to Taurus because the moon exalts in Taurus. That's where the moon starts its journey from the sign of Taurus. So that's a good placement straight away. So that would say and obviously Taurus being an earth sign would say I have a very grounded emotions, very fixed, very stable. But on a negative side, Taurus rules the mouth in medical astrology. So if you've got any like bad aspects to your moon in Taurus, that can maybe give you throat problems or maybe emotional eating, because like I said, the moon is to do with your emotions and Taurus is to do with your mouth and neck. So what I'm trying to show you here is how to connect the two and almost like make a unique blend, if that makes sense. So Mercury is about communication. So my Mercury is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is about seeing things and philosophy, higher wisdom, religion, spirituality. So they're the things that I like to talk about. Because my Mercury is in Sagittarius, my communication is based on religion, philosophy, wisdom, higher knowledge. So again, you just combine the two energies. My Venus, which is about pleasure and love, is in the sign of Libra, which again is, before I get into that actually, Mercury rules in the sign of Gemini and Virgo. So actually Mercury in Sagittarius is actually not a good placement because Mercury rules in the sign of Gemini and opposite Gemini is Sagittarius. So for example, if a sign if a planet rules in a particular sign, it will fall in the sign totally opposite because it's 180 degrees away from where it's comfortable, if that makes sense. Because Mercury is a very quick moving planet, whereas Sagittarius is also about long journeys. So the energies don't match up, if that makes sense. It's not the strongest placement for Mercury to be. Like, it has its benefits in the sense that, like I said, my way of communication, as you can see, is very long-winded because of my Mercury being in Sagittarius. It's funny how I've just given you a live example of that. So moving on, the sun obviously correlates with the self and the sole purpose of why you're here. That's why most people would say, I'm a Scorpio, or I'm an Aries, or I'm a Sagittarius, because the sun is the strongest energy out of all the planets which influences you. So in my case, I'm a Scorpio sun sign. So yeah, I am very into my occult and digging deep, and we have very intense emotions because we're ruled by the planets of Scorpio is the energy of Mars and Pluto. They're very, very malefic planets. I'm going to explain what malefic and benefic is as well once I've done this. So yeah, my Jupiter is in Scorpio, in Sagittarius, should I say. So that means, again, I have a lot of abundance in wisdom and religious studies. My Saturn is in Scorpio, so that is where I need to learn discipline in areas in relation to Scorpio, which is sexual desires and digging deep and looking at the occult. So that is where I will learn my lessons in my life. Saturn, wherever Saturn is in your chart, is where you need to learn. You'll learn a big lesson there, or it's pointing to the area that you need to find more discipline in. So in relation to me, that would be Scorpio. My Uranus, again, is in Sagittarius. I have 5 planets in Sagittarius, which is why I love spirituality and religion and yeah, higher wisdom and stuff like that so much. My Neptune is also in Sagittarius. My Pluto is in Scorpio. And my Rahu is in Gemini. And my Ketu, which is the past life, is in Sagittarius. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope I made all that clear. And if I didn't, feel free to message me. Like I always say, you can always inbox me. But what I'll do just before we go, I'll just run through each one again and then we'll round it off. So we'll go through the signs. Aries, I am. Taurus, I have. Gemini, I think. Cancer, I feel. Leo, I create. Virgo, I analyze. Libra, I balance. Scorpio, I desire. Sagittarius, I see. Capricorn, I build. Aquarius, I know. And Pisces, I believe. The moon controls your emotion. Mercury, your communication. Venus, your pleasures. The sun, your self and soul purpose. Mars, your action. Jupiter, abundance. Saturn, discipline. Uranus, rebellion. Neptune, intuition. Pluto, transformation. Rahu, present life. And Ketu, past life. So again, guys, until next time, peace, love, and blessings. I'm out.